Hello, my name is Alex Ruger, and today I will be reviewing my opponent's perspective. First, I would like to point out that in the initial statement of the debate, it was inserted that African Americans use welfare, Medicare, and government financial support as method of financial safety, and that African Americans take government assessment twice as much as whites. But according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the whites are the ones who stay on it twice as long as the African Americans do. These government programs are here to help all people in America who are financially unequipped and who are in the poverty level and need help just to stay alive. And I think that it is, of course, it's important to be able to have those programs to help our country, and especially with the way the economy is. But I would just like to point out, too, my opponent did state that African Americans need to be taught how to work and they need to learn, and I don't understand how that statement really applies when they're the ones that, yeah, they need the help, so they go on it, they get the help, and then they get off it because they go and they get their jobs, and they obviously, they're working and they know how to work and they have a good work ethic. So I don't understand how he can make that claim of they need to be taught how to work. I still don't think that's an okay statement to say. And this just kind of leads back to these government programs are here to help all people, like I stated before, but how is this a form of reparations to African Americans when their inheritance, like from where their ancestors started, was from nothing, and yet they were the ones who worked and worked. America was built off of that, and so I don't understand how else would you expect like them to have any money at all. I think it's important to remember, like, as a nation, as a country, like we're here, it's a land of free for all people, it's a land of freedom, and it's important to remember that the government was in the wrong in this, and it is our moral duty and obligation to make this right and to bring forth awareness to what happened and how they were treated unfairly and how they do deserve to be paid in a form of reparation. They do deserve some kind of compensation to help that. They have already started out from the beginning off of nothing, and they have all they've ever done and shown is that they work, they put forth the work ethic, they do what they need to do, and yet they still get unfair wages. So I just don't understand how the government can't see that and won't understand and won't make awareness and address the fact that they were so wronged of themselves, and they deserve that money, they deserve all the things that they worked for, and you see how they didn't get what they deserved, they never got their money, and how it affects the generations and generations and generations down the line, and how it's going to continue to affect generations down the line. I think that the government ought to, and they need to make that correction of morality, and so that people can see, like, we are a country that values equality, that values everybody getting what they do deserve. And I think that it's important to remember that we need to make that standpoint of fairness and equality, and not allow just the threats of debt or anything like that keep us from that. I mean, we're already in debt as it is. Like, I'm not saying that the reparations need to be paid in full up front. There needs to be some kind of way that works out the process. So years down the lines, as generations start to continue, that they do see some form of aid and some form of help and some form of reparations, because that is their right. That is what they deserve. That's what their ancestors worked and never got. So I think it's just important to remember, like, the government needs and has a moral obligation to pay back what they did wrong. And I think that it's important to remember that all these government assessments and all these government assistance aids are here for all people, and they're not just here for the African Americans. So it's important to remember, like, that is not a way of compensation directly to them. It's not some kind of symbolic apology to them, because it's for all people, and we need to address the fact that the way that the government and the way that the people treated the African Americans were so unfairly and so unequal and so racist, that it's important as a country, as a moral obligation, to address that and make that right, and in some form of reparations that they do deserve. Thank you.